Well, the finale of The White Lotus Season 3 is now on the horizon, and after an episode 7 which revealed many truths to us, showed us a change in direction for a lot of the characters, and most importantly, showed us Timothy fully committing to killing his family but not being able to. I think this finale has the potential to be way more deadly than what any of us are expecting. I think there could be at least 3 deaths when it comes to the group of main characters. With the trailer for the finale now being released and it looking like Timothy is still going to be set on ending things, let's dive into the trailer and break down all that there was to take away from it. Here is the White Lotus Season 3 Episode 8 trailer explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The first line in the trailer was from a conversation between Timothy and Pam, and Timothy was holding the pong pong tree fruit. He said the line, "When we got here, you said something about this fruit," and Pam responded and said how the tree was considered to have an association with it being linked to people ending things for themselves. So he should stay away from it and not eat it, something which was met with a smile from him. As she responded to him, there was a quick succession of shots amongst many different characters. There was Greg, the 3 girlfriends, Gaitok, Belinda, Rick, Frank, Mook, and Saxon. All people that could be heavily connected to death in the show, and they might not end up making it to the end of the day. In the closing moments of episode 7, we saw that Timothy had fully committed to ending things for his family and himself because he couldn't face the shame of telling them what he'd done and how he'd ruined their lives. And also because he heard from Victoria that she wouldn't want to live a life where she wasn't wealthy, and also from Saxon that if he wasn't successful then he'd have nothing. He clearly thought that he was doing the right thing. However, with the gun being gone, it meant that he couldn't do it. So now he's going to have to look for an alternative way of ridding his family of the life that he thinks they won't want to live when they get home. And this is most likely through the fruit that's on the pong pong tree. The very fruit that was referenced in the first episode when Saxon had a hold of it. So I wonder if Saxon holding the fruit in the very first episode could be insinuating that he could be the victim. With there being a shot of a blender later on down the line in the trailer, I think the fruit is most likely going to be mixed up in some kind of drink or protein shake, and that's how it's going to get the family, or the one specific person. Considering Saxon is the person that drinks them the most, I think Timothy might end up making one for Saxon, and that could be where it goes wrong for him. So that could make victim number 1. The next part of the trailer then had Belinda and Zion in the super mansion as they were speaking with Greg and contemplating the $100,000 that Greg offered Belinda in the previous episode for her silence. Belinda said the line, "I'm not doing this, it's a waste of time, now let's go." This was met with Greg looking on in disappointment and him realizing that he might have to turn to deadly measures in order to protect his life that he wants to keep a secret. I actually don't think that Greg or Belinda are going to die in this episode. Greg has been in the show for 3 seasons now, and it kind of feels like his time has come to an end. So I don't reckon he'll be in season 4, and I think that Belinda might just be bold and brave and call the authorities, and that could land Greg in the trouble that he's been wanting to avoid. I think if Greg or Belinda end up being killed, there'll be too many deaths, so both of those are off the cards right now for me. But with the way that Belinda reacted to Greg in this scene, you can see why he was concerned in the opening of episode 1 and worrying that she was harmed. After this, Gaitok said the line, "I have something to tell you." This was after it seemed as though he was praying or participating in some kind of religious ritual. And I'm imagining he's doing this because he's looking for guidance on what to do because he now knows that Valentin and his 2 friends were responsible for the robbery that occurred in episode 2. His colleague Lek then responded by saying, "Was it about the robbery?" I'm presuming this is where Gaitok is going to reveal that he knows who's behind it, and that's going to be what the shootout is going to center around. We saw a shot of Gaitok running with a gun later on in the trailer, and I feel like him going after Valentin could be at the center of that, as I imagine he'll confront him and he'll want to show that he has the fighting killer instincts that Mook says that he doesn't have. And that's where he'll then be tested because Valentin will most likely not go down without a fight. Accompanying Lek and Gaitok speaking was a shot of Valentin with Fabian greeting Kunshrit Allah and Jim Hollinger, which showed us that Jim Hollinger survived the push that Rick did. But the fact that he's on site for the first time in the season makes me think that he's going to be going after Rick or Chelsea as a way of seeking revenge for entering his home under false pretenses and threatening him. Rick likely thinks that there's no consequences for his actions, as was shown to us with the smile that he had on his face. But Hollinger is a killer. He's done it before, and there's nothing to say that he won't do it again, even in his late old age. After this, Chelsea then said the line, "I love you, please don't do something stupid." Chelsea looked as though she was in tears as she said this to Rick, but it was also accompanied with a scene of Chelsea running up to Rick on the beach and them both looking extremely happy with one another. I'm actually finding it hard to believe that this moment is in reality. The show has used visions a lot, and I wonder if this happy scene is something that could be going through Rick's mind in his final few moments after maybe he gets confronted by Hollinger or his goons. Something which could show him that all the time that he spent being focused on the past, he should have opened up his eyes, not looked set on getting revenge, and he should have looked at what was right in front of him, Chelsea. But when this does happen, it could be too late. Rick said the line, "I'm gonna be okay," to Chelsea before he left and opened up a set of doors. I feel like these doors being opened is him opening onto Frank going crazy at the coat rack, so I don't think that moment is going to be anything deadly. However, with Rick saying, "I'm gonna be okay though," that feels like TV and film 101 for he's not gonna be okay. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he does end up making it out of the season alive. Right now, I personally don't think he will, and despite leaving the last episode feeling happy and satisfied that he can now move on from his past, I think that very past is now going to catch up to him, and he's going to be feeling the weight of confronting that darkness in the past. Maybe him dying will be Chelsea's third bad thing. The next shot that we had was of Jaclyn saying to Kate, "Have you seen Laurie?" And there was then a shot of Laurie looking off her balcony at both Kate and Jaclyn having a good time in the pool together. Something that could allow her to feel even more like she's the outcast and for her deep-rooted resentment to come to the forefront even more. As I mentioned in my episode 7 breakdown, I don't think that anything deadly will happen between these three, but if it does, it could happen at the hands of Laurie. I think their ending is more so centered around them just going back home despite having all of these issues with each other and them continuing as usual. Like a repeated cycle because Laurie and Jaclyn have had issues with each other since the 10th grade. The next line in the trailer was then spoken by Victoria, and she said, "No one has lived a better life than what we have." And this was accompanied by the blender, which we're all presuming is the murder weapon and will contain the deadly fruit. But most importantly, the shot was also accompanied by the ocean, the very thing that the monk said people return to when they enter the afterlife. He mentioned how they go from being a stray drop in life to part of the wider ocean during death. So that blender definitely contains something deadly. Timothy was also in tears in a later shot during the night, and he said, "I love you so much," as an arm looked like it was getting placed around him. I wonder if this is in the build-up to him killing somebody. Or maybe he's actually going to admit the truth to his family and the death that occurs will be accidental. The deadly protein shake might get left on the side due to him changing his mind, and then either Saxon or Lachlan could drink it, and a death could occur by mistake. That would be rather fitting. Timothy planning to kill his whole family, changing his mind at the last minute, and then somebody end up dying due to his negligence. After this, there were then a quick succession of shots. We had the scene from episode 1 with Zion first hearing the gunshots, one of a body in the water, which I think could either be Valentin, Gaitok, Mook or Rick, depending on if this is in the ocean or in a pool. One of Gaitok running towards trouble with his weapon in hand, and then one of a body being taken away from the beach. This was then met with the final line in the trailer being spoken by Pam when she said, "Have a wonderful last day." Something which most definitely holds two meanings. Last day on holiday or last day alive. I guess that's what we're going to have to wait and find out. So my predictions right now are that in the Ratliff family, Saxon could potentially be killed accidentally by his father. Rick could be killed by Hollinger or his goons, which will make him regretful of his actions. And then either Gaitok, Mook or Valentin could be killed due to a gunfight that could ensue when Valentin gets confronted about being responsible for the robbery. Valentin could be a casualty, but then I think Mook or Gaitok could end up dying because of Mook's constant encouragement for Gaitok to be a killer. So she'll become a deadly consequence of her own words, or Gaitok will die trying to be the hero. I think the finale of the White Lotus Season 3 has the potential to be one of the most eventful ones that we've had so far. It's an episode that I'm really looking forward to watching, and I feel like there are definitely going to be many deaths on the horizon. I am going to be doing another video where I predict the ending for each character in the season, so keep your eyes peeled for that, but I wanted to make sure I got this trailer breakdown out as per usual. So, there you have it, the White Lotus Season 3 Episode 8 trailer explained. If you want to see breakdowns of the episodes of the White Lotus Season 3, then click on the card in the top corner. There'll be some up there. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Who do you think won't make it out alive? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video, and I'll see you in the next one.